So I'm getting kind of fired up reading this book, The Road to Serfdom, and it's making me think about a lot of what's going on in society now, and really it's a lot of what's gone on in history, and probably will continue to go on. I was talking to my college-age daughter the other day about there were some protests or something she wanted to go to, and we just started talking about understanding the issues, understanding what it is that we want, what we're trying to achieve, and I was just getting ready to pick up this book again. It just articulates it so well, and I get something new every time from it. And I'm only like on page 60, and I think I could probably write a whole book on just the first 60 pages. It's just so much to digest. I think I would love to take a class just on this one book. But what I'm getting so far at the beginning of this, and there's other stuff that I want to share that I haven't prepared to talk about today, that maybe on another episode. But it's all about freedom. It's all about how we sell our freedom in the essence of freedom. It's a paradox, and this idea of this progressive paradox in essence, and when I say that, I mean like the progressives, I guess the leftists or whatever, that they want all these wonderful things, this utopia. They want all these things, but as they're trying to achieve these things, first of all, many of these things are just absolutely impossible. Like this idea of absolute equity and equality, and just pure equal fairness, and all those things I just said. Somebody could turn around and say, "Oh, he's a racist," or he or whatever. And that's not what I mean. What I mean is you can't guarantee an outcome for everybody. Not everybody can have the same stuff. And I this is not the time where I want to get deep into all those details. I believe in fairness, and I believe people should have the ability to have an opportunity to succeed and to be happy and to be heard, to not be oppressed, and to be themselves on both sides. I think that's really that's supremely important. It's very important. We all have different beliefs, and I get that. That's what makes America so great. But we have to be careful that we don't go so far the other way that we explode. And that's in essence what Hayek was talking about. He says a couple things here. I just want to say a couple quotes. I'm not going to talk too long here today. Let me see. I have it written down right here. Two things. He says, one is we become what we hate. And I see this idea on we become what we hate is actually what I said based on something I'm going to read to you in just a minute. If I don't have a sneeze button, I'll try not to sneeze here. But I see this on both sides. I've seen it a lot on the left, but I'm seeing it more and more on the right now too. That if it's for my side, or if it's something I believe in, it doesn't matter the means I have of achieving this. You know, the big thing right now is finding politicians at restaurants and screaming at them, or going to their house and scaring their children. And this idea that all bets are off and the ends justify the means for all this. So in the essence of peace, we're trying to achieve peace. I'm going to throw pig's blood on you and your children. Now tell me, and I'm sure someone from the right has done that to someone to the left, and someone to the left has done that to someone to the right, so there's no secret message here. But tell me that doesn't sound like a Nazi brown shirt tactic. So at the end of the day, and I hear both sides yelling that Trump's a Nazi, you guys are communists, all this stuff. Tell me that those tactics aren't making you become exactly what you hate. It's time to look at the Constitution. It's time to look at what we really want to achieve together and not become what we hate. So this is what he says, and we're talking about pre-World War II Germany becoming Nazi Germany. The supreme tragedy is still not seen that in Germany it was largely people of goodwill, men who were admired and held up as models, in the democratic countries who prepared the way for if they did not actually create the forces which now stand for everything they detest. Yet our chances of averting similar fate depends on our facing the danger and our being prepared to revise even our most cherished hopes and ambitions if they should prove to be the source of danger. So if we're using these methods, if we're trying to shut everybody up because we don't like what they have to say, and this is the whole hate speech from the right and from the left. If we shut everybody, if we don't want to hear what other people have to say, you don't have to listen to it. If you don't personally don't want to listen to someone, I actually like to hear. I'm a conservative. I like to hear sometimes, if they're honest, I like to hear liberals because I like to hear what they're saying, especially when I know they're smart, well educated. Like, okay, there's things that just because I'm a conservative doesn't mean I think I know everything. I know very little. And having that humility, and it's only pretend for this podcast. I want people to think I'm humble, but I actually really do think I know everything. I'm kidding. But listening to other people, and again, if you don't want to listen to other people, I don't care what it is. If you're gay and you don't want to hear someone talk about how gays go to hell, or if you're fundamental Christian and you don't want to see a gay pride parade, don't watch it. Don't go. Don't listen. But what happens when we start shutting down? What happens when we start shutting down all that stuff? Because what else are we going to shut down? That's the whole idea, free speech, right? So, but when again, I'm going back to what Hayek's saying here. If we want freedom, that's what we want, right? We want freedom. And then we're telling people, you can't talk. I don't want to hear Ben Shapiro, right? I don't want Ben Shapiro can't talk. Aren't we becoming exactly what... I like Ben Shapiro. But a lot of people on the left don't like him because they say he's a Nazi or he acts like or whatever. They disagree with him profoundly. But they act like what they say he is. And I'd argue all day that he's not. But they act like they say he is. But, that's okay, because we're protecting free speech. It's ridiculous irony is what it is. So don't... I forgot where it was. Tell me if I read this. Few are ready to recognize that the rise of fascism and Nazism was not a reaction against the socialist trends of the preceding period, but a necessary outcome of those tendencies. As a result, many who think themselves infinitely superior to the aberrations of Nazism and sincerely hate all its manifestations work at the same time for the ideals whose realizations would lead straight to the abhorred tyranny. I think I read that already. This is like my fourth time saying this, so I forget where I'm at. But the whole point, again, is don't become part of the problem. And I see this, and I don't know. I sometimes I feel like the only one that sees this. I think a lot of people see this, of course. I think also what's happening is normal people. I'm going to put myself in the normal. Maybe not normal people get a microphone and start talking into a computer, but I'm not a pundit. I'm not an author. I don't go out there and just start spewing all this stuff. Except for right now, I'm spewing it, but. People are picking sides, and people are pushing the fight, and they're not getting a mutual understanding of, a mutual agreement or whatever of what we want to achieve. So I think maybe we need to start there. And I'm gonna wrap this up here in just a minute, but my next conversation I'm gonna have is gonna be on freedom. He gets so good on this. I don't want to talk too much today though, because I want to start fresh with this idea of freedom, because there's so many other things, and I had like 20 pages of notes that I don't want to get into all this stuff because they're single issue stuff. For me, the number one thing is freedom. We have to define freedom. Again, I'm going to leave that for the next episode of exactly what we mean by freedom, because freedom is not freedom is not freedom. There's different levels of freedom. But ultimately, again, the point here today is don't become what you hate the most. And I say this for myself. And I think I did this in some of my earlier episodes. I took some recordings of some people who probably were not the smartest, people who got set up about making themselves look even stupider, making their side look stupider. And you know what? We could do it all day long. The right and the left, we can make each other look stupid all day long. At the end of the day, we're just going to hate each other, and that's not what we want to achieve. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Freedom is a good thing, and let's keep working at maybe trying to keep a little bit of it. Okay, bye bye for now.